this video, I will talk about email templates, optimization and design. So with Klaviyo, you get a list of predefined templates that you can use, but obviously they are just generic and they do not have any kind of look and feel and design of what you need for your own business. So you see they're just very, very simple structured. The only thing that basically Klaviyo does is add your logo there, and that's it. So we want to go through the different ways that we go and optimize and design our emails. So basically the same sort of principles that we have used for the store optimization, we want to continue this in the email marketing automation. So let's dive right into here. We'll basically coach you through this whole document that you will find as a download as always. We want to design emails that convert. With that, we start basically with the same principles as with the web design. We want to reduce the cognitive load and make our emails scannable. A lot of people do not read, as we know already, so we want to make it easy for them to scan the email and to get the glimpse of it, what this email is about. The more choices your email recipient has to make, the higher is the cognitive load and the lower the conversions. Simplify your design, get rid of unnecessary links, design elements and call to actions. Don't bore the viewer, always test your emails with short and scannable copy. So basically saying keep it as short as possible and keep it as simple as possible. Don't write very long emails. People are not are not reading them, so they tend to just open them, have a look and just delete them in best case scenario. The overall design of your email should be simple and clear. Keep the background images subtle. Your width is 600 pixel. Have one main call to action and one goal in your email, same as we do on the store itself. Use a one-column layout because that works best across all devices. Klaviyo will automatically optimize all emails for mobile viewing through. If your template is larger than 600 pixel, you might experience optimization issues on some mobile clients. There is a way to check your emails on different mobile devices before you send them, and you should do that. I will go through that later in the process. 600 pixel should be the absolute maximum. If you can work with 450, for instance, or 480 would be better. But again, 600 pixels sort of as a guideline. I would not recommend to use a pre-header text in the email template itself, but in the email setup. I will show you later on where that is and how you can use that. Otherwise, you will get a standard pre-text header all the time, and then you have to override it anyway. So I wouldn't put anything in the template itself. As for the header, you might want to have a link bar there. With the header link bar, you keep the logo around 200 pixel and you have only 3 to 4 links that are matched to your navigation. The logo should be less than 150 pixel tall, as otherwise it will push the core content of your email below the fold and people need to scroll. I would recommend not to include navigation links if your header if you feel it distracts from the overall look of your email. Now, what does that mean? I will just show you an example how the header looks. So as you can see here on this example, I've opened an older email from me. So up here we have the logo, and then down here we have a link list or a menu. So this is optimized for mobile, and normally you can't get there, depending on the length of your menu items, more than 3 or 4 up there. So there's a kind of micro navigation that you can use within email if you want that. Again, this increases the number of calls to actions. I'm not using this anymore a lot. From time to time I do, but usually I keep it just to a one button in the email or a link in the email with the call to action, and I don't use this a lot. But again, it's all about A/B testing, so give it a try if you want to have one of these link menus up here. Now let's talk about the body content. The body content is where you have most freedom on your emails. Use high resolution images there, use text and one main call to action. Match the look and feel of your email to the design of the website or your landing page. As for the language, be as clear as possible. Tell your reader exactly what you want them to do. There's different ways to test the readability of your text. There is one that I use a lot, which is called the Hemingway app. And then there is 5 sentences. What it basically does is you write your text, you copy for your email, and then you copy this text in the Hemingway app, which is a free app, and it will show you on a school grade, the readability. You should aim for like a 5th grader, something like that. A lot of people either are not that literate, or it is easier for them to read text that is written in a very, very simple way. So if your readability in the Hemingway app is like 9 or 10th grade, you should redo your text and try to get it to a lower grade so that people having less problems reading it. Helps a lot. Don't create a paradox of choice. Focus on one conversion goal. So don't ask them to follow you on Facebook and social media and go to a certain landing page and leave a review and so on and so forth. Just put one call to action in the email. That should be a strong call to action and telling them exactly what happens if they click on the specific link or button. Now, the call to action, as in on your store, should be above the fold. So people should not necessarily need to scroll down in the email to find your button or your link. So bring this as high up as possible. As for emails, use a white background and then use a font that has a high contrast and easy to read color. For the fonts, they should be very similar or basically the same one that you use on your store, on your website. Don't use more than 2 fonts. You might use one font for headlines, for instance, or for call to actions, and you use another one for the normal text that you're using. Many email clients do not use custom fonts. So if you have some kind of exotic font that you're using on the website, the mobile phone might not be able to use that on the email client that they are using. So the easiest is to stick to a normal generic font that will be Arial or Georgia or Helvetica or Times New Roman. And then make sure that your customer, your email subscriber, sees the email exactly as you're sending it out and you see it on your own device. So I'd already talked about high contrast, the same as on your store. Use pure black or a slightly off black. That can be color code 111 or 222. A good example, for instance, which is easy to read, is Arial. 16 pixels should be the minimum you're using. Don't use less than that. Color code 111 and line height 130 so that you have more space, white space between the lines of your texts. You can all edit this in the settings of your email editor under styles. Just show you quickly where you find this. So now we are in the email editor of Klaviyo. And if you want to change the font, then you can do this in 2 ways. Either you go here in styles, or if you want to do it just for a certain block, then you can go into block styles. Now, if you want to do it for the whole email, you go on styles, and there you already see that for text, you have the font color here. So I would reckon pure black or a slight off black, like 111 or 222 would work the best for you. Then you choose Arial, font size 16 and light height 130. And then you will end up with something that is easy to read and stands out and makes it easier for, obviously, to scan, also to go through there. And it looks the same on all devices. Buttons, call to actions, reduce the number of offers and limit 1 offer per email. You want to have only one mail call to action in your email. You want to have a standout color and you use larger fonts than the rest of the fonts. So make it big. A minimum of 18 pixels. You can play with around sometimes 20, 22 works. You should use the same color for buttons that you're using on your website so that you're congruent in the flow. For instance, if somebody gets an email with a call to action, the button has a certain color, and they click on it and it takes them, for instance, to a product page, and the checkout button or the add to cart button on the product page should be exactly the same so that they follow the same color pattern through the whole funnel until they check out. Colors are particularly effective when used sparsely, so that means they will pop out more. So don't use too many colors on your template, otherwise it will look busy and distract the recipients from the primary area that you want them to do. There should be obviously a footer in your email. Here you want to only include relevant social links that are branded to the rest of your email. So if you want to have social links there, that's sort of the same as you want to have on your product page, is you don't really want to have people going to your Facebook or Twitter account from the email, because your call to action is probably getting them to do something in the store or getting them to a blog page. You can use social links in the footer as sort of building up as a trust element if you want to do that. But you should not necessarily do that if you have a strong call to action, for instance, if you want to sell a product in that case. Then obviously legal requirements force you to have your contact information in there, a preference link, an unsubscribe link. All this is required by law, and all this will be added by Klaviyo automatically. So there is not much you need to do there. One thing that a lot of people get wrong, the unsubscribed link. A lot of people try to hide the unsubscribe link. Either they make the font in light gray, they move it far down, they have small fonts and whatsoever. Do exactly the opposite. Make it easy for them to unsubscribe. First of all, it will avoid anger with people who want to unsubscribe. And secondly, you want to keep your list clean. So if somebody really doesn't want to have your emails and wants to unsubscribe, you don't want to have them in your email list. They will end up as a dead link. They will never open your email again. That will impact, obviously, your monthly fee that you pay to Klaviyo. If you're carrying around a lot of dead leads, you're still paying for the number of dead leads in Klaviyo. And secondly, it will have an impact on your deliverability. That means if you have a lot of emails that get sent out and that do not get opened or are marked as spam, that will have a negative impact on how Klaviyo delivers your emails to all other subscribers. So you want to keep your list clean, and for that reason, obviously, you want to make it easy for them to unsubscribe. Now, we have a checklist here where we go. So write the subject lines and previews that are descriptive, short, and to the point. You want to add alt text to all images, even if your subscriber will not necessarily see the alt text, but it is a signal to email service providers like Google, for instance, or Yahoo, or whoever you use, that this is a legitimate email, and again has an impact to deliverability. Also, if somebody has some limitations in their browser whatsoever, they still will see what it is. Use contrasting colors, use headers to separate ideas, use descriptive language in links, and design emails in a logical structure. So there's a couple of email checkers that you can use here. For instance, for readability, when it comes to the graphic part of it, you can use the contrast checker. You can use this color blindness simulator. So for people who are colorblind, you can see how that works. And then also very important, you can use this for people with problems with their eyesight, sort of disability there. You can simulate how your email looks there. So first step, what you should do is create a base template from you work from. So if you're planning to send out a newsletter, for instance, once, twice, or 3 times a week, before you start creating your template every time from scratch, you start with a base template. And with that template, basically, then you can add more elements from within the Klaviyo editor. So going down here, we have the email design checklist. Use this checklist whenever you create new templates or emails in general, and just go through this and see if basically every of these points are fulfilled, or every of these points are matching your email. And then this will increase the deliverability and the opening rate and the rate of how people consume and read your email quite drastically. Hope that makes sense. And that's it for this video, and see you in the next one.